Ladies and gents, one more reacts, and this is Fables and Folktales, Urashima Tarō by the channel Sarcastic. Yes, another Japanese myth or folktale, whatever. Yeah, Japanese. I love Japanese mythology, right? All the ones I reacted to from this channel, at least. It's kind of a dark, but always the fun one. Classic fairyland etiquette varies from story to story, but the nastiest one always involves some kind of a time funkiness. You know the joke about how, like, it's really bad to end up with a medical condition named after you? This is the namesake for the entire space of time dilation tropes in Japanese literature. Tough break, buddy. Alright, time dilation. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the description. Check out the cast plays like Sarcastic and reaction with all of my reaction about this channel. History, internet historian, CGP Grey, cause in a shell. Yeah, let's watch it.
Magical adventures in fantasy otherworlds may sound fun on paper, but more often than not, they're a surprisingly risky gamble. In the best case scenario, you'll come back home and find only seconds have passed since you left, and you won't even get in trouble for being gone. Sometimes time
Oh yeah, wait a minute. That's what the case was with Narnia, right?
fun on paper, but more often than not, they're a surprisingly risky gamble. In the best
I even forgot. Look at that. Yeah, they
case
all.
scenario, you'll come back home and find only seconds have passed since you left, and you won't even get in trouble for being gone.
How does that work though? At the time I was a kid, I didn't thought it through. But how does that work? You become all grown up. Your mind becomes like that, and then you come out and you're come back and you're still a kid. But now you're grown up mentally, right? Yeah, even though you're physically a kid now. I mean, that is something.
Sometimes time passes at a 1-to-1 rate, and the whole time you're gallivanting around in the magical otherworld, time's still passing back in the real one, and you're gonna have some serious explaining to do if and when you get back. But the worst case scenario flips that first one on its head. You might think you only spent a few days in the otherworld, but hundreds of years could be passing in reality. The concept of localized
Wait a minute, what is that? A Halloween special, the Wild Hunt? Wait a minute, is that the same Wild Hunt from Witcher series? I don't know.
think you only spent a few days in the otherworld, but hundreds of years could be passing in reality. The concept of localized time dilation is a staple in fiction and folklore because it's frankly deeply unnerving. As a bonus fun fact, it's a real thing in relativity. It's almost totally unobservable under normal circumstances since we tend to stay in mostly one place relative to the Earth and don't usually move at an appreciable fraction of the speed of light, but a clock moving relative to an observer can be observed to tick slower than a relatively stationary.
Damn, look at that. She just went all scientific on this. This is Fables and Folktales. And she's talking about all this. Yeah, I mean, the more closer you are to the speed of light, right? Everybody else, right? You are much slower compared to everybody else. Like somebody, like say a spacecraft just went, to near the speed of light, right? They will age way too slowly compared to everybody on Earth. So that is the thing. Everybody thinking like how we'll ever get to the next or nearest star or any star. People thinking, going way too close to the speed of light. Anybody on the spacecraft, for them it will be like, I guess not much of time has passed. While everybody on the Earth, it will be like thousands of years.
And a clock close to a gravitating mass will measure less time passing than a clock farther away from the same mass. Thanks to gravitic time dilation, the core of the Earth is about 2.5 years younger than the crust. This is bananas.
Yeah, so the more you're closer to the center of gravity, right? The more slower your processes are. Everything at the atomic level, or even beyond that, everything's slower. So the point is the time is slower. That is why the satellites has to adjust its time, right? Every time to Earth's clocks. Otherwise, there's a difference, noticeable difference.
As you may remember it from Interstellar, that's basically the only time pop culture ever used this. Maybe those magical otherworlds simply reside close to the event horizon, slowed and distorted by the very nature of space-time. Or maybe it's fiction and we don't need to read too far into it. Anyway, today let's talk about a Japanese folktale about the dangers of magical otherworlds and the importance of following instructions from people who know more than you.
No, but seriously, the more we learn about, more deeper science, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, right? We learn how, two type of particles, remembers each other even though they are way too far away, even far away than, speed of light can touch. And both can remember things. This is some freaky shit, right? With all the laws of physics we know, when it comes to quantum mechanics, quantum physics, that all comes down out of the door. That's why lots of scientists are saying that maybe we'll need a new type of laws and understanding to understand quantum world, basically. So what if one day we realize like ghosts, all these fables, folktales, and all these things is just some type of separate dimension that we were all missing. We were thinking, oh, that's absurd because we weren't thinking at the quantum level. right? Because if you see quantum level shit, it will feel freaky to you, like it's some kind of a folktale or fable type of magical thing. But it's not. It's real. I mean, I don't know. To me, I think our limitation of measuring the quantum world, maybe we'll never know that. But yeah, one day we might realize that there is different type of pocket dimension that basically lines perfectly close to all these fables and folktales, and maybe all of this shit was real.
The story begins with a young fisherman called Urashima, who's a very sweet guy without a mean bone in his body. His profession of fisherman does make it a little difficult for him to be completely harmless, but he's very conscientious about the whole thing and doesn't do any more harm than he has to. So that's why one day, when he fishes up a massive turtle, he remembers hearing that turtles are supposed to live for 1,000 years, and he feels bad about cutting that short just for a tasty dinner, so he throws the turtle back and settles in for a nice little fishing boat nap. This is when a beautiful woman rises out of the water, steps into the boat, and tells Urashima that she was that turtle and is also the daughter of the sea god, and she's here because he just proved himself in a secret test of character and is qualified to be her husband. Urashima likes the sound of that, and he and the
What if Urashima's like, but I'm gay? And she's like, I just gave you the whole fucking lecture and now you're telling me this? Damn.
princess sail out to the Dragon Palace to be married, where they settle in to live together in riches and luxury for 1,000 blissful years. And if only the story ended there. But while Urashima is a big fan of this magical palace and dragon princess wife situation, after about 3 years of divine marital bliss, he starts feeling a little bit homesick, and he wants to sail back to his humble village to check in on his family and friends, you know? The dragon princess doesn't think this is a very good idea, but she won't stop him, so she just warns him to be very careful, because she has a feeling something very bad might happen if he does anything reckless. She gives him a small box and warns him not to open it under any circumstances or he won't be able to come back. So Urashima tucks the box away, grabs his boat, and sails back home. But it's not quite what he was expecting to see. The mountains and rivers are all the same, but the buildings are gone, including his house. He flags down a couple passing beachgoers and asks them what happened to the Urashima house, and they tell him that's a weird thing to ask since it's an old folktale around these parts. 400 years ago, some kid named Urashima drowned on a fishing trip and never came home. His family are, of course, long dead, and even the village he lived in has fallen into ruin. Urashima realizes the Dragon Palace might just be one of those magical fairy realms he's heard about, where time passes a lot slower on the inside than the outside. He thought it was only 3 years, but it's been centuries out here. Well, that's a bummer, but what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, that is so interstellar, isn't it? I mean, they went to that planet, came back, and the person was basically old by then. That's a freaky experience if you go through that. You know, if we, dominate, space frontier in the future, where there are, massive, black hole engines or whatever, that basically gets you close to the speed of light, and people actually travel for research purposes. When they come back, they realize, holy shit, entire civilizations are gone now, right? And it's been thousands of years. That's a surreal thing to, witness.
With no surviving friends or family and no reason to stick around, Urashima prepares to head back, only to realize he doesn't remember the way. Surprise, surprise, the ocean doesn't have too many identifiable landmarks. Urashima freaks out and panics for a bit before remembering the box and thinking maybe there will be something inside he can use. Surprise, surprise, there isn't. When he cracks the box, the only thing inside is a vaguely ominous cloud of vapor and the recollection that that was the one thing he was supposed to not do. Whoops. Whatever magic was in the box dissipates, and Urashima gets hit with 400 years of backlog time all at once, rapidly aging all the way up into a corpse. Total.
It's like he opened it, it's beautiful, and it just melted. This is fucked up. Why did she give him this kind of a box that probably holds his immortality? Why not just give the box that can't be opened? Let's just say that. Why give the box that can be opened? And has his immortality in it. And why not just fucking tell him, if you open this, you're gonna melt and die. Really painfully, I guess. This is fucked up.
Total bummer. Moral of the story? Well, aside from the standard don't disobey magical orders from fairy tale ladies, maybe, make sure you and your fiancé are fully on the same page before moving in together. You might handle your chores differently or have different standards of organization. That's just the kind of stuff you should really talk out first. And also, your fiancé's house might be a relativistic anomaly that completely cuts you off from your friends and loved ones forever, which is just generally a red flag.
Yeah, that's what generally happens. So I guess all of them are like that. Damn, this was an awesome one, man. Why didn't she come back, right? I mean, she's like, oh, where's my husband? Okay, he might not know how to come back. Oh, wait a minute, what if he opened it and he died? I guess, to her, all these rules, obviously how she met him, right, is by testing him. Does he let go of the turtle or whatever? He did, and that's why she married him. So I guess that kind of mentality was with her. Like, if he doesn't do certain things, then he's dead anyway, that kind of mentality. So if he opens the box, well, he shouldn't have done that, so he's dead. I guess that's kind of mentality she's walking around with. If he can't find his way back, I guess he's screwed. That's just how it is, or something like that. I don't know. I like how, she pulled up all these diagrams of, how time slows down with the gravity and speed of light. That was awesome. All right. That was Fables and Folktales, Urashima Tarō. I love this one. Now remember, if you like my Rickson, don't forget to like and subscribe. I mean, 75+% of you are not subscribed. Most of my viewers, I guess. So subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more, I guess. Check out the Rickson. There's a link in the description. Check out the class. Place it. Yeah. I'll see you next time.